Today's math lesson is chapter 5, lesson number 2 on hundreds, tens, and ones. So on Wednesday we started chapter 5, which was on place value, and we learned our essential question is how can I use place value? Now yesterday we learned and focused on the hundreds place value, but today in lesson 2 not only are we going to focus on the hundreds, we're also going to do the tens and the ones. Yesterday we watched a video from Robo that talked about place value. We're going to watch another video from Robo that talks about place value with ones, tens, and hundreds.
Hello kids, and welcome to the Place Value House. Today we are talking about ones and tens. I have here a Place Value House that has spots for ones, tens, and hundreds. We will only be talking about the ones and tens today. Here we have the tens and ones places. There are rules in this house that have to be followed, and one of the rules is that you can only have one digit in each room. A digit is any number from 0 to 9. Let me show you what I mean. Here is the number 2, and this is one digit because there is just one number. Let's look at another number. This is the number 20. Can you tell me if this number has more than one digit? Yes, the number 20 has 2 digits because the 2 is a digit and the 0 is a digit. Uh-oh, we cannot put both numbers in the ones room. We have to split them into each place. This is still the number 20. We just have the 2 in the tens place and the 0 in the ones place. Now that we have that rule out of the way, let's look at some place value blocks. Here is a ones block. This ones block is worth 1 and is represented by the number 1. What if I add more ones blocks to the ones place? How many ones blocks do I have now? I have 5 ones blocks. Great job. We can see the number 5 above the room, and we are not breaking the house rules because we still have just one digit in the room. Now let's add 4 more ones blocks. How many blocks do we have now? Can you count them for me? We have 9 of the ones blocks. Great job again. But wait a minute, another block just moved into the ones place. But something is wrong. I think I know what it is. We have reached the number 10. Because we have reached the number 10, we have more than one digit, and we are breaking the rule of one digit per room. Now here is the really cool part that I learned the other day. Watch what happens to the blocks when there are 10 of them in the ones place. All of the 10 ones blocks stuck together to form what we call a tens block. This is a group of 10 ones called a 10. Why do you think we call this a 10? We call it a 10 because this tens block is made up of 10 ones blocks. You guys are awesome. When we had 9 of the ones blocks in the room, we had no problems, but once we reached 10, we had to form a tens block. The tens block is now in the tens place and not the ones place. In the tens place, we are only allowed to have groups of 10. That means we cannot have any ones blocks in this room. If we look at the number above, we see a number 1 in the tens place and the number 0 in the ones place. We have to remember that the 10 in the tens place is really 10 ones blocks that have grouped themselves together to form a 10. This is some amazing stuff to learn. Let's look at another one. Here we have 4 ones blocks, and they go in the ones place. Now count with me as we add more ones blocks to the room. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and here comes one more. Once we have 10 of the ones blocks, we have to group them into what? We group them into a 10. Great job. This is a tens block. Can you tell me which room a tens block belongs in? It belongs in the tens room. You guys are amazing at this. We now know that when we have 10 ones blocks, it is grouped into a 10. The number 10 means 1 10 and 0 ones because there is nothing in the ones room. Wow, this has been amazing. Thank you so much for helping me. Come visit me again real soon. Goodbye.
Okay, so let's practice what we have just learned. And we need to get out our lesson number 2 worksheet that is under Friday's work. Make sure when you get this out at the top, you write your name nice and neatly on the line, please. Okay, now down below, we're gonna practice looking at our place value house. So we learned in the video that our place value house can only have 1 digit in each place. And we start way over here on the right with the ones, and then we go to the tens, and then we go to the hundreds. Now down below, we have a problem. It says Maya collected cans to recycle. The amount she collected had 3 hundreds, 6 tens, and 7 ones. Use base 10 blocks to show the number in the chart, and then write the number. So let's first draw our base 10 blocks. So the first number is 300. So when I hear 300, I know hundreds are the big flats and they're the squares. So in this box up here, you need to draw 3 of them. Now remember, you don't need to draw and show me that there's 100 cubes on that flat, because that one, we don't need to take the time to draw those 300s ones. So just show me a big square, and Mrs. Murphy's gonna try to make hers a little bit more square. Okay, and we know that there's 100 on each one of these. So this is 300. Now, that number is gonna go here. So the 300 is first. Then it says I have 6 tens. So my tens are the sticks. So I'm gonna draw 6 sticks. And again, we do not need to draw and show that there's 10 little cubes on this stick. Okay, so now the next number I'm gonna put after the 3 is the 6. So 360, and then I have 7 ones. So we know over the ones, those are the small little cubes. So we're gonna draw 7 little cubes. Okay, and then that number is gonna go way over here to the right, to 7. Okay, so I have 367, and that's represented here with my 300s, my 6 tens, and my 7 ones. Okay, pause the video if you need to catch up on your drawing and writing your number there. When you're ready to move on, you can unpause, and we're gonna go on to the next page where we have the guided practice. So on the guided practice at the top, it says there are 427 pennies in this jar. Use hundreds, tens, and ones to show 427. So in this jar, there is 400. So to represent 400, we have the 4 flats, the squares. And then we put the 4, go ahead and trace it right here in the place value house. So 400, and then we have 20. And I know these are kind of hard to see, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? Then we have 20, 10, 20. So we got 2 tens, and then we have 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that would be on the far right. So we have 427. Go ahead and trace that number right here too, please. And that is how we read it, 427. Now, sometimes second graders would say 427. You don't say and unless there's a decimal, and we haven't learned about decimals yet. So don't say the word and until we can see a decimal. And we won't have to worry about that in second grade, okay? But don't get in the habit of saying 427 or 420 and 7. Okay, don't use the word and, okay? Now, down below, we are gonna write how many hundreds, tens, and ones. And then we are gonna write the number, okay? So if you look at this first one, instead of drawing out each flat, they said there is 2 hundreds or 2 flats. So I know in my place value house, this is gonna go in the hundreds. There's 2 of them. 200. There's 6 sticks, and that's 6 tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. So that number is gonna go in the tens. There are 6 tens. And lastly, there is 3 little ones, or 3 cubes. So that would go over here in the ones column. So we would read this number as 263. 263. All right, let's practice this again on number 2. On number 2, they're saying we have 5 of the hundreds, 5 of the flats. So over here in the hundreds, place value house, we have a 5. And then the sticks, we only have 1. So then that would go in this spot. Now, second graders, here's a trick question. If they don't have any sticks, you need to put a 0 to hold its place. If you don't have a 0, that changes your number. That number would then be like 58, okay? So I know on the IXL skill yesterday, some of the kids were getting tricked because they forgot the 0. If you don't have a stick or a 1, you have to put a 0 there, okay? And the last one is 8. So if I have 8 ones, that would go over here. So if I look at my place value house, I have 518. So my number would be 518. And notice that Mrs. Murphy did not say and. Okay, pause the video if you need to catch up on your writing. And it's okay to draw the arrows, because drawing the arrows might help you see and realize the place values. So I encourage you to draw the arrows to help you. All right, second graders, you are gonna do the independent practice in a minute, but before we do that, let's go on to the back page and let's do some problem solving skills. And we will cross off the brain builders, okay? But let's do the problem solving skills first. So at the top here, seeing if I can make this both fit, but I don't think I can. At the top here, it says a number 10. This number has 4 hundreds and 2 ones. The number of tens is the digit between the number of ones and the number of hundreds. What is the number? So this is a 2-step problem. So this is our problem solving. We got to figure out the 2 steps here. The first step is, it says, this number has 4 hundreds and 2 ones. So right now, Mrs. Murphy is going to draw my place value house. I'm not going to totally draw the house. I guess if you want to, you can. Why don't I draw it? So I'm going to go over here. Here's my house. And I'm going to draw 2 lines going out. Okay? There's my ones. I'll put a O for 1, T for tens, and H for hundreds. If you want to draw your place value house too, that would be great. Now, it says there are 4 hundreds. So in the hundreds, I'm going to put a 4. Okay, and I'm going to cross that off. There is, and 2 ones. So 2 ones, here's my ones, I'm going to put a 2 there. Okay, I'm going to cross it off. Now, I don't know the tens, but they give us a clue. It says the number of the tens is the digit between the number of ones and the number of hundreds. So if I look at the 4 and 2, and I have 2 and 4, what number comes between them? 1, 2, 3, 4. So think about that again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the number between them is 3. So the digit that goes in the tens is the 3. So my number, what is the number? My number is 432. 432. All right, pause the video if you need to catch up on drawing your place value house. Make sure you draw that out and write the number. All right, now on this next one, it says, you can view the largest, most complete T-Rex at the Field Museum in Chicago, Illinois. It has more than 200 bones. Look at the number 200. What number is in the hundreds place? So right now, let's look at this number. And I want you to write underneath each one the first letter to represent each place value. So I'm going to start over here at the ones. This first number to the right is ones. The next number is the T for tens. So O for ones, T for tens, H for hundreds. Okay? Now my question on 11 is, what number is in the hundreds place? So if I look right here, the number or the digit in the hundreds place is the 2, because I have 200. So on that line, I'm going to write a 2 because there's 2 hundreds. Now, this is the tricky part, but I think you can get it. On number 12, what number is in the tens place? So way over here to the right is the ones. The next number is the tens. So that 0 is the tens. So in the tens place, there are no tens, there are zeros. So see how you still have to put a 0 to hold its place? Because if you don't, then this number could be 20, or if you didn't have 2 zeros there, the number would be 2, and that one represent 200. Okay? All right, now pause the video if you need to catch up on this one. At the bottom, for the brain builders, you can nicely take your pencil and you can cross off the brain builders with a nice X. Okay? Now, your job is to go back to the independent practice page, and I'm going to help you get started and do one of each one. Okay? So I'm going to start with the top section, 1 through 6. And on number 1, I will help you with that one. It says, write how many hundreds, tens, and ones. Then write the number. So just like we did on this other page, this first number tells me how many hundreds. So I'm going to look and I'm going to notice that there are 3 flats. So in my place value house, for the hundreds, I'm going to put this 3 over here for the hundreds. Now my tens tell me that there are 8 sticks or 8 tens. So in my place value house, the 8 goes next. And then last are my ones way over to the right. I have 2 of them, so the 2 goes there. So the number of base 10 blocks I have is 382. 382. If you need to draw the arrows to help you, please do that. And then whatever is in place value house goes right there on the line. And then please practice reading that number. Pause the video if you need to catch up. And then I'm going to show you number 7, 8, and 9. I'm only going to do number 7 with you. On number 7, they're going to give us the number, and now we need to break it apart. So we have the number 684. Now I have to break this number apart. So I'm going to first start over here with the hundreds. So right there it tells me that I have 6 hundredths. So I'm going to underline the 6, and I'm going to draw an arrow to show you that's where the 6 goes. 6 hundredths. The next one's tens. 8 8 tens, 684. And then I have 4 ones. So that 4 goes way over here on the ones. Please draw the arrows if you need to help if you need that to help you. It's a great visualization to see how that place value relates to each place. Go ahead and complete 8 and 9 and double check to make sure you have this whole page done, and then you will hand this in. Make sure you keep it in a safe spot. You'll hand it in after break so that Mrs. Murphy can grade it and put it in the grade book for this lesson.